Thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you to my colleagues. I'm just delighted to see you all today. I think when Rahul Gandhi came here, it was sort of an echo of the Bharat Jodo Yatra that he initiated across the country. And the message of uniting India is very different from the kind of uniformity that our present government in Delhi seems to want to impose. We are seeing, as Ramji has said, a real challenge to the idea of India. That is that we have a ruling party that seems determined to have one nation, one election, one nation, one language, one nation, one religion, one nation, one leader. This is not India. This is not the way India works. The Congress party has always stood for the celebration of the diversity of our country, where it is a matter of strength for India, not of weakness, that we are all so different. We have our own cultures, our own religions, our own languages, our own appearances, our own clothing, our own foods, our own everything is different in many, many parts of the country, somewhere within a state. And that is part of what we celebrate in the Congress party. So I would stress that one of the first messages I wanted to give you all today is that the Congress wants to remind people of the diversity of India, which some people are attempting to eliminate, dilute, or completely diminish through an illusory uniformity which is not truly Indian. That is our first and foremost message. If you want to preserve India's diversity, you want to preserve the idea of an India where everyone will feel proud to be themselves as well as proud to be an Indian, then vote for the Congress party. The other couple of things that I want to stress here is that we are very conscious that Mizoram faces a number of serious governance challenges. Sad to say, we've had 5 wasted years with a government that has been extremely inefficient, and there are serious allegations of corruption that I don't want to repeat now. But there is a real question that people are asking: what has been accomplished in Mizoram after 5 years of trying a non-Congress government? We are saying to you, we have the experience, we have quality people. Our PCC chief, Mr. Ansota, is somebody who has an unimpeachable reputation for integrity, who was an outstanding finance minister of the state. And the Mizo people can be sure that the money of Mizoram will be spent in Mizoram, that it will be money that very frankly is going to be spent in the interests of the people and not of any individual or any particular faction. The other point we want to stress is because there are these challenges, we are aware of the need for sensible, creative governance solutions. And we've come up with a number of ideas. I won't go into much detail now because you've seen them already. They're in our manifesto. But just to highlight 2 or 3 specifically, we have understood the very urgent need for focusing on employment, particularly for young people. Youth unemployment in Mizoram is up to 23.5%. That is very high. I think after Kashmir and Kerala, there is no state that has a higher youth unemployment. That has to be tackled. Now, we will fill whatever government jobs and vacancies there are in the police and so on, but we know that's not enough. That's not enough because the solution to employment cannot only be in government jobs and police jobs. The solution to unemployment requires a certain creative approach, looking at what people's needs are. Young people would like to start their own ventures, would like to start their own entrepreneurship activities, but they need a bit of a help. They need a leg up. And that's why the Mizo Youth Empowerment or Elevate concept has been advanced, where we will provide a bit of seed money and help them start their own businesses. If they start businesses, they not only employ themselves, they will employ others. And that will be one very effective way of tackling it. At the same time, we also know that there will be people who, for various reasons, may not be able to work, who need help. And that's why we talked about 2,000 rupees a month for female-headed households, single women are looking after a family. We want them to get not a salary, but at least a certain amount of help from us. We're talking about 2,000 disabled people. And we want everybody to have the advantage of feeling secure that if ill health strikes, they're not going to spend all their resources in actually just getting well. So the 15 lakh cover is something the Congress government has promised every individual in Mizoram. And for very serious cancer in particular. There is a plan, first of all, to upgrade the one cancer hospital in the state, perhaps create more cancer centers, but even more important, to put aside 5 crores that will be spent specifically on treating the problems that people have with cancer. Mizoram, sadly, has amongst the highest per capita rates of cancer in the country. So these are just some ideas. But I want to go back to where I began to remind you of Rahul Gandhi's visit, remind you of the message that he gave, that the time to end the politics of hatred is here. The time to bring Indians together, celebrating our diversity and at the same time united in dreaming the same dreams together. That time is here. And that is the message that we all bring to you. I know that some voters appear to have been tempted in recent elections by a new party. They don't want the MNF, and the MNF has failed them. But they're looking to a new regional party. And I want to share with you a concern that was most eloquently expressed to me yesterday by Mr. Nadsar himself. The worry we have is that no one really knows who these people are in terms they've never governed before, they have no experience of government administration, but equally no one really knows who is behind. And there is a genuine fear that a vote for the ZPM would be a vote for the BJP to come in through the back door. And that's why we are saying, go with the tried and tested party that you know, Congress. Go with a party that knows you, the Congress. Go with a party that is proud of you and proud of everything that Mizoram, the people of Mizoram stand for, and that is the Congress. So I'll end by saying I'm here on the campaign trail. I've had some very good discussions yesterday with ordinary Mizos from various walks of life. I've addressed a couple of campaign rallies. I've also had the privilege of meeting very many of your senior leaders, Congress Party senior leaders in the state. And I'm looking forward in the rest of today to having more interactions with particularly the people of Mizoram, professionals, general public, and I'm looking forward to serious interactions and addressing their concerns. In the meantime, I'm happy to address your concerns and questions. The floor is open to you.
My question is that the BJP were advocating for the state withdrawal. They have COVID and six schedule amendment and also direct overview of few of the states in the state of withdrawal. So what is the over there of this amendment? What is your reaction?
So we have had every reason to be wary of BJP's policies. Because if you look back at literally the last few elections that were tested, going back to 2014, this is a party that notoriously has failed to keep its promise. Everything from 15 lakh rupees in every Indian citizen's bank account to various other commitments they made, 2 crore jobs a year for Indians. Have you seen any of this? Have you got your 15 lakhs? Have you found a new job suddenly springing up overnight? So we're very wary of that. What worries me more is that track record. Look what happened to Article 370 in Kashmir. Might the same thing happen to Article 371G in Mizoram? I don't know. You don't know. But the BJP, their record is such that nothing is sacred, nothing is untouched. And this is the worry that we all have. That if the people of Mizoram want to preserve what they've got, they should take any promises and assurances with a very generous and trusting approach. Yeah.
Elections in Mizoram have also been a part of the party. Emergence of this figures are in the party. So do you think in any way they can go to the Congress space or do you think OC is helping your opponents?
Well, look, I mean, I think you can just listen to what the BJP themselves are saying. They know they're not going to win more than 1 seat if they're not. But they're saying, doesn't matter what we win, we are going to win now. Where was that message? That message seems to be a very clear indication that the ZPM is working as a cat's paw, as a sort of wedge in the door for the BJP. The ZPM has never been in government, has no experience of government, doesn't have very many people who know administration here. And the clear thinking on both the BJP's part and perhaps the ZPM's part, I don't want to admit it, may well be that the way to actually, if they get enough seats, is to come to part of the support of the party in the centre and the BJP. Now we've seen a similar scenario playing out in one or two more northeastern states. We don't think the people of Mizoram deserve a repetition of that scenario. I think what we need to see is people voting for a party they can see, not for a party which may have shadows behind it that we don't know who shadows are.
Any other questions? Yes. Please raise the hand so that we can pass.
Yeah. Just want to do computer or BJP policy for government. I think BJP has to follow up party. No, like no, even the school minister is a team of very follow up. I think like that.
But I can tell you about that, that is one of the funnier claims that is made. Don't ask a BJP person, are you corrupt? What do you expect them to say? Go and ask any businessman in this country whether corruption has gone up since 2014. Go and ask anyone who does import or export in India what their experience is. Go to anyone who's a taxpayer in India and has to deal with the tax officials. You tell me, after talking to people who really have the experience of dealing with the BJP government, you tell me what the answer is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you because I'm not a businessman, I'm not an importer or exporter, but I have talked to very many of them. Because I also wanted to believe it, right? So when I saw the Transparency International Index, which is the international yardstick, gold standard for judging countries' progress in overcoming corruption, and we have done worse in the BJP rule than in the past, and we were not particularly, we did not have a great record in the most corrupt country. I will say that we've done worse now in the BJP, and when you ask why, this is the reason. The Transparency International doesn't look at government press releases. They look at the experience of actual people doing business. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not proud of this. As an Indian, I want my country to be corruption free. Mahatma Gandhi had set the standards for this country as to how we should, the moral values that should our governance. And many of us are feeling very sad that that did not change. But merely making claims without any substance, people always laugh at that. We all know how the investigative agencies of the BJP have become an instrument, I beg your pardon, of the government of India, have become an instrument of the BJP. We know that they're only targeted opposition parties or leaders or business people who are supporting opposition parties. We have seen that there has been not one investigation of any charge against anybody associated with the party, even when the mass media have come up with these allegations. So all I can say to you, my friend, is it would take a great deal of credulousness, willingness to believe that particular claim of the BJP.
Yes.
I'm a Jennifer from BJP. I have two questions I will ask you together. First question is regarding the Mizoram election. Congress was the last party in Mizoram while we were in the North Country. Mizoram was the last Congress to North Country in 2008. Now, according to your assessment, will Mizoram be the first party when Congress will be the first question? Second question, everywhere in the country, we are seeing that even the MLAs after the revolution of the carrying for the Congress party, and they are usually they shift their side after the topic. If Congress does not get a considerable majority of the number, they are supposed to get like that. So in that scenario, what is the strategy that Congress will adopt? How are you going to protect your MLAs?
First, I'm very confident that everything I'm picking up, and I've talked not only to party workers but to them members of the public, that there is a very good chance that Mizoram will establish that it becomes the first state to bring the Congress back to power. It will not be the last, it will definitely be the first. Others will follow. Secondly, on the question of the loyalty of the village, let me say very bluntly that the opportunists would have left the party by now because the opportunities were greater elsewhere. Those who are only interested in power of office, those who are only interested in the benefits that come from being associated with the ruling party, those would not have stayed in the Congress. It's argued circumstance. So we are confident that we've given tickets to good people who really believe in the ideology of the Congress, who want to save the idea of India and preserve the diversity of Mizoram. And such people are not likely to jump over lines, jump ship, and go somewhere else. Let me make one small observation. We are very conscious that just a few months away after the state election are the big national elections. And those national elections are nothing less than a struggle for saving India's soul. Because the idea of an India where everyone is equal, where everyone, irrespective of language, religion, caste, creed, region, culture, whatever, they all have the same rights under our constitution. That idea is under threat. That idea is under threat, and that's why next year's Lok Sabha election is so important. In many ways, the Mizoram election is a dress rehearsal for that. It's an opportunity for people of Mizoram to say, this is the India we want to present. And that's what we're urging people to think about, particularly highly literate state like Mizoram. I think only my state of Kerala comes slightly ahead of Mizoram in terms of literacy, otherwise you're right up there. We want you to think very seriously about the larger situation. And that's the most that we need to do.
My name is Karen from BJPs, Mizoram. I have two questions. I just put it together. In the past, the Congress in Mizoram here had a significant track record securing the highest number of MLAs in 2020 election. But if you look at 2018 election, there has been a drastic decline in the number of MLAs. So I want you to pinpoint the reason behind the decline and whether it's related to leadership or other factors. Regardless of the decline, what distinct propositions or policies or what you have in store for the state in light of these changes? In light of these changes, what the party has in store for the state. And my second is, you talk about diversity, unity in diversity, but if we look into every tribal, region, or cultural group, they tend to be present for fundamentalists and extremists, and as we are deeply influenced by the future, our constitution will effectively safeguard our rights, or will they be at least necessitating the constant battle each time a new government with different ideologies come into power? Or is it a reflection of reality, or is more of an ideal scenario?
No, I think you asked a good question. On the first one about the decline in the number of MLAs, you're right, there was a drop dramatically between 2013 and 2018, but there wasn't such a dramatic decline in the percentage of votes. So it was still principally an election between the MNF and the Congress. I think the percentage was only 2 or 3% less in terms of Congress votes. The ZPM had already come into existence by then, and as you know, they took over seats and a few percent of votes, and it seems that the votes they took over the last. So 2018 reflected not a loss of confidence in the party by the voters as a whole, but the way the mathematics worked out. With the percentage of vote we got, we could have got more evidence, we only got 5 million. So that's the first answer. It happens in a first past the post system. You know that. I mean, the famous example that foreigners like cited how Ms. Mayawati's party got 20% of the vote in 2019 with a single MP, not one, with 20% of the vote. So in our system, such things can happen. It does not mean that the party, in this case the Congress, has lost the confidence of the voters. It means that in some places, not enough votes came our way against the MNF candidate, partially because in some places they took away some of our votes. And that was, you can do detailed constituency-wise analysis, you see that. On the second thing, as far as what the Congress has promised, I already did all the headline, big picture items. I have a whole bunch of notes to give you a very detailed program, but I don't know if you want that because that's all in the manifesto, and you can see the things that promised. Let me speak briefly about what we are not going to do. I mentioned at the beginning about this one nation, one election, one nation, one law, one nation, one leader kind of approach the BJP has. Now the thing is that this one nation, one civil code is also coming from the BJP. Congress has stood fast, has steadfastly opposed one nation, one election, and will oppose one nation, one civil code once we know what it contains. Because right now, this is just what's the word I want to say, ghostly apparition. There is a slogan, but there is no substance behind the slogan. No one has seen a draft civil code. So what is the uniform civil code they want? Our worry is, one of the beauties of our system is how we are able to preserve both different legal traditions and cultures in our country, in which, for example, the tribal peoples all have their own tribal codes, and at the same time give those who want to participate in a established right to do so. So, for example, if you're a Muslim woman in India, you can marry under the Muslim law, and all the benefits and obligations that flow from Muslim law apply to you. But you can also marry if you want through the Special Marriages Act, sign a register, and then all the legal benefits of that apply to you. That kind of system is something that we believe gives everybody equal rights. Now, tomorrow you bring a uniform civil code, what happens to the rights of the tribals? What happens to the rights of religious minorities? We don't know because we haven't seen a draft yet. But it's alarming that people are floating ideas that press uniformity. And the Congress is saying unity does not mean uniformity. We are saying that we can stay united with all our differences that are part of our diversity. And that is the main difference between the Congress and the others. Now, the specific things I've mentioned, everything from tackling employment to health scheme to the cancer care. We've got the 2,000 rupees. We've talked about the pension fund. We've got many such schemes like this. If you want to know a little more, my colleagues will certainly give you chapter and verse in the manifesto. We thought this through in consultation with the people of Mizoram. It's what they want that we have given in the manifesto, and we believe in a realistic way. This will not break the budget of the government. And we have a very responsible, experienced former finance minister who stands behind this manifesto. Jerry?
Any other questions, raise your hand.
Hello, sir. My name is Jerry. I'm from theihna. Recently, most of the star campaign press coming to the state have been saying that the PM is the backbone for BJP. And in a recent interview with Mr. Lok, who is the CM candidate for the PM, we had an interview with him asking him the same question. And his reply was, we are not going to join any political group at the national level. As he said, we don't want to be defeated from Delhi. So what is your reaction to this? And don't you think this also have to do with decentralization of power?
Look, it's an admirable sentiment. No one wants to dictate to Delhi, not even Congress ministers, not even BJPs. They all want their freedom to make their own decisions. Our problem is the unanswered questions that are lurking behind that. Where is their finance sector? For example, what is their path to power by themselves? They've never been in power. They've never had any experience getting into power. There are some genuine, sincere questions to be asked about how they expect to be able to come to power in this system, and whether it is somebody's very deep pockets that are going to lie behind any attempt to wrest power in this system. We, very frankly, do not believe the ZPM is going to be in a position to rule on a Mizoram. I mean, that, I don't know whether you have got different polls than the ones we have seen, but we don't see it. We don't see it. What we fear they can do is damage to us. We feel we are doing very well with the general public. But there is some constituencies, it's possible that the difference between us and victory could be in the votes of ZPM. So we want to also ask voters, what do you think you're voting for? You see, everyone says they want to change. I mean, I have not met a Mizo voter who says we're happy with this M&M government. Everybody wants a change. But what change do they want? Is it not better to go for a change you know, with a party you know, and a party that knows Mizoram? That's what the Congress is. That is our answer.